I'm going to talk about my favorite books of 2019, which I am very happy to talk about. When I was making this list, I realized that I had talked about all of these books before in my video. But I think it will be nice to talk about those books that I felt so positive about and my favorites in 2019. I gave all of these books full 5 stars, so they definitely earned their place as my favorite books. The 5th place in my favorite books of 2019 list goes to The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. I had read some of Oscar Wilde's plays before and really enjoyed them, but this play had the most wit among them, I think, and it was the play that was more cleverly constructed by any of his plays that I have read. I think it's an excellent early example of the sitcoms that I really enjoy watching, both in the TV and as a play. So this book really made me laugh when I was listening to it as an audiobook. And the book also has a special place in my heart because it actually helped me to get through the hard period of time when I lost my only remaining grandparent, my paternal grandmother, and listening to this play and smiling was also very helpful for me. The 4th book on my favorites list is Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. I actually read 3 Stephen Kings this year. And if they had listed all 3 books, The Shining, Pet Sematary and Dr. Sleep, in the beginning of the year and said that Dr. Sleep would be your favorite Stephen King book of the year, I would have laughed at them. But this actually became true because Dr. Sleep was a pretty good horror book. But aside from that, it had characters that I felt very dearly. I especially loved Danny Torrance and the little girl Alba. I read the book being so anxious for their sake. Also, I thought his writing was better in terms of pacing than other books that I have read by him this year. And I also watched the movie version of it. They changed some parts, but it was good. I would advise this. And I did a from pages to screen video about this book. I will link the video down below. So Dr. Sleep was clearly a favorite of the year for me. Third book on my list is an oldie but goodie, or oldie but goldie, Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. It's a historical fiction novel set in the Civil War times, and it follows Scarlett O'Hara, initially not a very likable heroine, but her personal development and her interactions with her close family and her friend and then love interest, Red Butler. After reading this book, I went to its Goodreads page and saw that it became a bestseller when it was first published. And I can see why, because I never felt bored while reading this huge book. And the characters were so fleshed out. Even though I had a hard time liking Scarlett at first, I was fascinated by her strength to carry on and strength to be a survivor. And this book affected me in those sense as well. And I had a favorite character, a side character, Melanie, which was, I think, the epitome of a strong and kind woman. Even though I liked the book so much, I have to give this warning, content warning. There are heavy racism issues in this book, but that was the reality of the South in those times. So I viewed this as a natural part of the book. But if you're very sensitive about this subject, you have to know that it contains heavy racism. And I like the movie 1939 movie adaptation of this book as well. And I mentioned it in my tag, I love the book, I love the movie tag. I will also put this link down below. I think Gone with the Wind is a book that deserves all its hype, even though it has been many years since it was first published. It is still a very relevant book in terms of society and human interactions. My second favorite book of the year was Memoirs of a Geisha by author Wilde. It is his first and only novel, and although it had some issues about the true representation of geisha life, I thought it was a perfect historical novel in many sense. I felt so much emotion for the characters and their stories, and I thought the period and the atmosphere of Japan in those times was portrayed excellently in the book. If you're a fan of historical fiction like me, I cannot praise this book enough. Additionally, this book holds a special place in my heart because it was the buddy read that I did with Krista from BooksAndJams, and it was a lovely experience in many ways. And this led me to meeting Krista in July, actually on the day of my birthday, and was the perfect birthday present for me. She was one of the people who encouraged me to do a booktube channel along with my best friend. And I also did a from pages to screen video where I compared the movie adaptation and the book. I will put this link as well down below. Memoirs of a Geisha earned one of the top 2 places in this list in so many ways. Here comes the favorite book of the year. It's the middle grade book, Wonder by R.G. Palacio. I actually had trouble putting this one or Memoirs of a Geisha in the first place, but Wonder was something wondrous in many ways, because it was the first time that I felt so much in a middle grade book. Of course, there were other middle grade books that I felt something, but the addition of being hopeful in difficult situations and always being positive no matter what, and trying to survive in an environment that can be hostile to you. I think it was one of the best messages that a middle grade book can give. So that's why it earned the top place. And the story of this boy with disfigured face and his enormous love for everybody, even those who have been unkind to him. It was so effective. I always get teary-eyed when I think about and talk about this book. And additionally, I also buddy read this with Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand. This was our second buddy read experience, and I want to do more with her because she's an excellent buddy reader. I felt very similar things while reading the book. She felt more about some subjects and I felt more strongly about other subjects, and that experience also increased my enjoyment level while reading this book, most probably. So for my favorite book of the year, I also did a from pages to screen video, and I will link that down below as well. I of course gave Wonder 5 out of 5, but if it was possible to give 6 stars, I would have given this book 6 stars. Those were my favorite books of 2019. As usual, I have books from different genres, which is something that I like about my reading habits. I felt like I am finding favorites from every genre. Please comment down below what were your favorite books of 2019. Did you read the books that I have mentioned? What did you think about them? Did you love it as much as I did? And also like and subscribe as usual. Hope to see you very soon. Bye. Turkish word of the day. I actually had trouble finding the Turkish word of the day because I had chosen the keywords for my two favorites. So I'm going to go with Gone with the Wind and choose wind as our Turkish word of the day. Wind means rüzgar in Turkish, and rüzgar is our Turkish word of the day. Have a good day.